Dan so gepraat van die kunste. Die musikant Howie Combrink kuier vanoggend hier by ons en hy kom vertel ons meer van sy liedjie wat hy saam met RADA uitgereik het en dit handel oor mensehandel en ander forme van geweld. Welcome. It's nice to have you here, Howie.
It's awesome to be here. Thank you.
Like Howie, you originally, everybody says it, everybody mentions it, but you were originally from another band, eh?
That is correct, yes. Yes, I was a part of Watershed for 10 years, and I left in November last year in order to pursue my own adventure in this life with music and creativity, and of course with the NPO RADA. You know, that's a big passion of mine to work with them, and I found that I just didn't have enough time to focus on that as much as I wanted to.
Well, what does RADA stand for?
Rape, alcohol, drugs and abuse. It's an acronym. So RADA, the website rada.co.za, it's all sort of just spoken as of RADA, but it actually stands for rape, alcohol, drugs and abuse. That's what the organization focuses on.
And you joined with them, especially in this new song of yours.
Yes, well, I met the CEO of RADA in 2013, backstage of a festival, ironically talking about festivals, and we clicked, and he said to me he's got this idea, he wants to start an NPO that makes a difference, covering various aspects of problems within South Africa and the world. And he wants to use music and the arts as a vehicle to create a message and to put a message forward, you know, to the people and stuff. And because music and art is that thing. You get on a stage and you develop a platform and you get out there and, you know, it's more than just singing songs, I think. And I like to get up on stage and talk about sort of more, you know, more precious topics and things that I believe that we need to open conversations around, you know, and RADA is the vehicle that I do this through because RADA looks after these situations and they are experts in these fields, you know. Yeah.
And I mean, to me, it sounds like you're trying to spread awareness through music as well. But I would like to get to these contentious issues or topics that you like to talk about or to sing about.
Yes.
Why is it so important?
So I believe that, you know, with certain topics, especially abuse, for instance, if we link abuse to my latest single, I See You, because I think that is the avenue of the song. And it's a case of, you know, I would like to create awareness around the idea of it's okay to firstly come from an abusive past. It's not okay that you were abused, but it's okay that you went through that. And I think that's the first step to acknowledging the problem that is. If you yourself can accept the fact that something's gone on with you in your life, and you know, from there you can then possibly open up a discussion with someone else or engage with an organization like RADA. And I just think as an artist, it's important that we use our voices for the good and not for an egotistical perspective of I want to be famous and sing my songs. It's more about using what I can do in the arts to speak about these topics.
Nou ja, na hierdie nuus wat nou kom, gaan ons verder met Howie gesels. Ons gaan 'n bietjie by jou uitvind, Howie, more about RADA, who RADA is, and we're going to talk about your history and who you are. And ons gaan weer praat oor sy liedjie I See You. Net na hierdie, die musikant Howie Combrink kuier vanoggend hier by ons en hy gesels meer oor sy liedjie I See You. Howie, you've mentioned just before we went to the break that you think musicians or the music scene in South Africa in general is a little bit too self-centered and egotistical.
Yes, I mean, there are artists out there that are doing good things and have done good things in the history of, you know, South African arts and the arts of the world. You know, Johnny Clegg's a good example. I think he made a big difference and was a voice of a certain culture and era, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think that it is important that we get out there. I mean, it's no joke, it's no lie, shall I say, that South Africa has its troubles. And if we don't speak about these problems, because if you find yourself on a stage in front of an audience, there's privilege there.
Yes, absolutely.
You have a voice. And to use that voice only but to monetize it and make money out of it for yourself, I find to be self-centered. And it's just not the approach I would like to take going forward. As controversial as that sounds, because it is a business, you know, being an artist is a business, it's like any other company. But it doesn't mean you can't take a portion of that business and give it back and try and make a difference in some or other way using the art.
Now let's get to I See You. What is it about?
So I See You, the music video specifically with I See You showcases the story of the song really well. It tells the story of a girl that's come from a seriously troubled past. We had a wonderful actress called Risa Jean Boertes who played the lead role in the video. It's more of a cinematic story-based narrative versus myself just performing. And it's about a girl that comes from a severely abusive past, and she's fighting that within herself by going home at night and sleeping in her bath, which was a play on I Am Legend with Will Smith, you know, when he was the last man on earth. That was the idea, you know, that same feeling. She felt like she was the only person on earth at night in her bath. But through these experiences of sleeping in her bath, she had much time to think, and the song basically, you know, the overall outcome is self-awareness and to take self-responsibility and accept that issue. You have been abused. That is the first step to this, you know, and once you can actually accept that, you can start flourishing and getting out into the world. And the song I See You is a story of that, and the video showcases that story and tries to tell it in a better way than just the lyrical content and the music itself.
A lot of people don't realize, the people that haven't been abused, that haven't gone through that terrible experience in their lives, don't realize the impact it has on everyday things for people that have gone through the process.
Absolutely.
Why are you so motivated by this? What moves you?
I mean, I've had a lot of personal experience, not particularly myself, but a lot of friends, a lot of people, and through RADA, we've met a lot of people that have come from terrible pasts that they should have never experienced. And, you know, RADA being an organization that they make a tangible difference, and being engaged with them and working with them and stuff, I've been able to actually go out to, RADA looks after homes. We've got this Adopt a Home project. So we adopt a home and then reinvent that home, provide the food, the beds, or paint, or whatever it is that the home needs. And I've had the pleasure of, it wasn't a pleasurable experience, but the pleasure of being able to experience it, shall I say, of going into these homes, meeting the kids several times, and having conversations with them and seeing them. And even when it comes down to really young kids that can't converse about these things, just seeing their response to certain things like toys, for instance. Yeah. It's heartbreaking, and our country is completely riddled with it. And for me, it starts at home first. You know, we want to conquer the world, but it starts at home. South Africa is a troubled country, and I just want to do what I can to make a difference with that, you know.
I want to ask you, I mean, is it difficult to write a song that people can relate to, you know, based on personal experiences and also these kind of issues?
I think intent is everything when it comes to that. If your intentions are correct, and myself and John Paul Neuberger, the CEO of RADA, always talk about this. If your intentions are correct, you will portray the story in the most authentic way as possible, you know, in the most believable way, because it is believable, because it comes from a real place. So I wouldn't say it's hard, but I'd say the idea of packaging a message like this is quite challenging because of all the controversy around many of these topics. People can misread and misunderstand what you're trying to say quite quickly. So the articulation is the hard part, really, you know, trying to get it to the market and get the point across in the most accurate way possible so that people really understand.
Articulating yourself as an artist has never really been a problem for you, because you grew up basically with music all around you, am I right?
That's correct, yes. My father, Peter Combrink, was a musician his whole life. He grew up, and he was an Air Force musician that went on, left the Air Force and entered the world of popular music and started a studio. And then I sort of grew up in that little studio. It wasn't so little, you know, especially when I was small, it was quite big actually. So I had all this technology around me, and I went in there and I'd lift the sheets up and start fiddling around and stuff from a very young age. So I've kind of always, it feels very natural. It's been a part of my life since I can remember.
I would like to come back to RADA specifically. Can the public, you know, get involved and in what way?
Absolutely. They can contact RADA through rada.co.za, rada.co.za, and they can get involved by assisting with food drives, by donating, you know, by even just engaging in the conversation, you know, by following the company and listening to the music. Because what we do with the arts is, when a song gets played, so if I write a song for RADA, which we've written many, I mean, it's been 8 years now, and this is one of many songs, we take a large portion of these royalties, and that money comes back and it gets injected into the 18 homes that we currently look after. So simply by listening to the music, engaging with the website, subscribing to the newsletters, you know, that is helping enough because it's opening the conversation.
You speak about giving back. You've also referred to it earlier, that you need to give back a portion or a segment of your energy or whatever you have to someone else. It's a concept that's been around for millennia. Are you driven by that as well, by giving back?
I feel like it's addictive. You know, for the most part of 18 years of being a musician, I was the typical musician of looking for stardom, looking for that big stage and the crowds and all of that. And, you know, having experienced a large part of that, it sort of loses its appeal quite quickly. And I think that is where, you know, if you look at in history, musicians, that after shows, they have that typical downer where they end up doing all sorts of things in the back room just to try and feel alive again after all the hype, you know. And for me, the hype is being able to portray the message and make something out of it and give it back. You know, that for me, it gives me the same adrenaline kick as what a big stage does. So I think that is where that comes from.
And it's almost like, I'm reminded of the Beatles. They're the first guys that get into my head when you talk about a band going back at some stage in their careers, in the band's time, realizing, oh, there has to be something deeper. There has to be a deeper meaning. And going into an ashram in India, do you think artists usually get to that point at some stage where they think, yes, the music is great and the artistry is fulfilling, but there has to be something more. It doesn't fill all the gaps.
I think you get many types of artists, you know, and I think it also becomes a personal thing. You know, there's guys like Bruce Springsteen that'll just, he loves music, and I'm sure he's done a lot of good in his life with his music, but he gets up on stage and he loves playing for 3 hours, you know. So I think for someone like him, maybe he just has that addiction to the music and to playing songs. You know, Dave Matthews, a good example, loves just getting up and playing songs, but he gives back a lot as well, you know. So I think it's hard to sort of speak on behalf of the majority of artists, but at least for myself, I feel that it's that vehicle we were speaking about earlier. I'm addicted to using the vehicle for the good. And that is the fulfilling aspect of it all. I mean, the shows are great. Playing in front of a crowd is fun. It's a good time.
And now this song, I See You, has been released on the 3rd of March. So what would you like people who, you know, listen to this specific song, what would you like them to experience?
I think the idea is they should feel uplifted and realize that, you know, yes, I am singing the song, but, you know, the concept of I see you is so big. And it roots to families, friends, partnerships, you know, even colleagues at work. What I'm trying to do is push the message of I see you, you know, and it's like a lot of people, especially after what's gone on the last 2 years, feel unseen. They feel like they are nothing in the world. They feel a little empty because of things they may have lost, you know, over the last couple of years with all the issues around COVID and now currently with the Ukraine and Russia and inflation rates going up. And it seems like we're heading for a crash landing, but that isn't always the case and shouldn't be the mindset. So it's a case of, you know what, if you are going through someone, just see each other a little bit more. Try and see your colleagues, your friends, your people a bit more and hear them and be there for each other a little more. I think that's the overall message. As sort of bold as what it seems, I'm definitely not trying to heal the world, but just want to make a little difference and encourage people being there for each other.
Oh, it's exactly what you're doing. Thank you very much for joining us today and talking about it.
Well, thank you guys for, once again, giving me a platform to speak. I appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
So that's Howie Combrink. Howie se lied I See You gaan ons nou ook speel. Dat jy daarna kan kyk is regtig iets om te luister na.